Caitlin Clark return hope arrives with Indiana Fever season on the brink. The Indiana Fever face a fight to hold on to a spot in the WNBA playoffs, just as Caitlin Clark appears to be nearing a return. The Indiana Fever were dealt both a brutal blow and a ray of hope on Sunday. The latter came earlier in the day, when for the first time since she went out with a groin injury on July 15, Caitlin Clark was seen participating in team workouts at Shootaround, the best indication of the superstar's potential return yet. Caitlin Clark is participating in Shootaround this morning, going through warm-ups, then some non-contact drills with the second team. She has not officially returned to practice, I'm told, but this her first time working with the team since her injury. However, said Shootaround was in preparation for a showdown with the Minnesota Lynx, one that saw the Fever dispatched by a final score of 97-84. But more significant than the final score was the fact that Indiana tumbled to 8th in the standings, with a hold on a playoff spot becoming even more tenuous. The Fever are just one game up on the Los Angeles Sparks, who sit at 9, making the prospects of the postseason far from a guarantee in this season of adversity. Which begs the question, will there be a season left for Clark to salvage? Upcoming stretch of games will define Indiana Fever season. The answer to that query will likely be determined this week. A quick glance at the schedule shows the head-to-head matchups over the next 3 contests could decide the Fever's fate. Indiana hosts the Seattle Storm Tuesday. Seattle sits just a half game ahead of the Fever in the standings and are in the same battle for playoff position. This is why coach Stephanie White didn't hesitate to call the matchup a big one after the loss to the Lynx. So the Fever are the 8th seed right now and play the Storm and Sparks next. Caitlin, if you're coming back this year, I really hope it's soon. It's starting to get dark. But on the heels of the Storm contest is a face-off with the Sparks in Los Angeles Friday, followed by a trip to the Bay Area to take on the Golden State Valkyries Sunday. So all in all, the Fever will square off with all the teams directly above and behind them in the standings during this stretch. Coming out on the winning side will all but assure a playoff berth, while more losses will likely signal a premature conclusion to the season. Where does Caitlin Clark's potential return fall into mix? White described Clark's reintegration with the team as low maintenance and low intensity, but nonetheless dubbed it a good step. What that means for the perpetually undefined Clark return timeline remains to be seen. The Fever coach has previously stated the star point guard would need to be a participant in practice before making a return to the floor in game action. Fever are barely clinging to a playoff spot, but if Caitlin Clark can come back, we actually still have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm still holding on to hope CC will be coming back this season. Of course, the sooner Clark can play, the better for Indiana's playoff chances. But if she still requires a ramp up, the team will have to continue to stay afloat without her. Then there is the fact that the squad has been decimated to the point where some fans are wondering whether it is even worth it for her to return. Can the Fever season be saved? Whether or not Clark's return is worth the risk comes down to what one's definition of success may be. The loss of Sophie Cunningham was a critical one in an injury-ravaged season for the Fever. Considering the health of the squad and the number of players who have had to be brought in amid hardship, it's hard to imagine a WNBA championship being at the end of the rainbow. Still, that hasn't stopped the Fever from fighting. Stephanie White post-game. Our players bust their ass. They battle every single game. This is a special group of women, and the numbers tell a story, but their hearts and their character tell another one. Look, this team busts their ass, man. I'm proud of this team and how hard we compete. We put ourselves in position, night in and night out, White declared after the game against Minnesota, echoing the message she shared in the previous loss to the Lynx. She's right, and it only feels just that the grit the team has shown all year be rewarded, as there is more to what defines a team than whether they hoist a trophy. And let's be clear, no opposing team is salivating at the prospects of seeing Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston on the other side of the court come playoff time. Kelsey Mitchell over the last 15 games since Caitlin Clark's injury. 22.8 points, only trailing Aja/Fee. 4.3 assists. 1.9 rebounds. 43.9%. FFG, 44% 3 pints. 7.3 attempts. 81% FT. This is special stuff, man. First team all-due discussions need to have her penciled in. The WNBA offseason is a long one, and it should be more tumultuous than ever given the lingering CBA negotiations and subsequent free agent frenzy on the horizon. Surely, the Fever could start looking toward the future. But the present is still here, and it would fly in the face of everything the team has accomplished thus far to pack it in. Just how far Indiana can extend the season hinges on Clark, as was always going to be the case, which means until there is defined word on her return, both hope and doom are on the menu for the Fever.